Welcome back. It's time for business, and for that, I'm joined by Owen Fairclough. Hello,
Hello,
Owen.
Claire.
Starting off with the look at the markets. So it's a quiet day on the markets.
It's going to be a reasonably quiet day, Claire. There are some world markets closed for a bank holiday in the US as well. But we can maybe thank our lucky stars that at least they're up for once, certainly on the European markets. At the opening bell, all broadly up, all attention will be on Spain this Monday. That was after the nationalisation of Bankia just before the weekend. Claire will have more details on that. We have heard in the last few minutes that the Spain's market regulator will allow Bankia to resume trading. We'll try and get you some numbers on that as soon as we can. We don't have any numbers yet, but will be allowed to resume trading. Shares in Bankia were suspended on Friday as part of that government nationalisation. Those are the numbers in Europe for you. You can see all of the markets up by around 1% or so, just under. On the Asian markets, pretty choppy, but again, the Nikkei did manage to find some gains around 0.2% up, but again, a pretty depressed market. Let's not forget that the Nikkei is still trading at around the 8,500 point mark. That is pretty low.
So, a positive start on the Asian markets, and that's despite Spain taking centre stage again in this Eurozone crisis. The government's nationalisation of struggling Bankia is costing nearly 24 billion euros, a huge outlay for a government that's supposed to be cutting back. And it's the methods it's using that are drawing the European Central Bank uncomfortably close. Stephen Carroll reports.
It's a rescue package with a twist. After its shares were suspended on Friday, Bankia did a deal with the government for a second capital injection, this time of another 19 billion euros. The troubled bank, the country's fourth largest, was formed last year by the merger of 7 regional lenders. It's been plagued by financial worries since, with an estimated 32 billion euros in toxic loans secured on property whose value has collapsed. Shares in the bank have halved in value since they were first floated last year. With this injection, it will have been recapitalised to the tune of 23.5 billion euros. Bankia says it's treating the money as a final investment that will make a profit for Spain.
We think this group won't need any further aid or additional capital. We also think we now have a solid franchise from a financial point of view.
Spain's banks were first in the queue when the European Central Bank handed out cheap loans to European lenders, taking almost a third of the capital on offer. This time, instead of a direct injection of state funds, Spain has given Bankia government debt, which it can use as collateral with the ECB. It's a move designed to keep Spain's government borrowing rates away from unsustainable levels. But it also implicates the ECB in the state rescue of a bank, something which may raise eyebrows in Frankfurt.
So that's the picture with Bankia. If you have just joined us, Bankia shares have resumed, or will resume trading at some stage this Monday. Let's turn to other things now. They are the two biggest mobile phone makers in the world right now. They're also two of the biggest brawlers when it comes to patent battles. I'm talking about Apple and Samsung refusing to kiss and make up. They are now due to resolve their differences over their latest patent battle in court. Our Tech24 editor, Rebecca Bowring, is here. Good morning to you, Rebecca. They did try to have some mediation in this. I think they've spent the best part of 2 or 3 weeks trying to resolve this. It ain't going to happen. This is going to go the distance.
Correct. So yes, a giant game of tit for tat, we could say, and those talks last week failed. It does mean that they will have to head to court on the 30th of July. This has been going on for a long time now, Owen. It all started with Apple hitting out at Samsung and saying that basically Samsung's products were too similar for it to have been a coincidence to Apple's iPhone and iPad. And just about a week later, Samsung countersued, saying, well, no, actually, Apple has borrowed, stolen, however you want to put it, some of our mobile telecommunications technology. And so consequently, this has been this patent war that's been going on for months. And the problem is, well, it creates a bit of a tricky situation because, in fact, Samsung is one of the biggest supplier of components to Apple for its iPhone and iPad. So they still have to maintain a business relationship while slugging it out. Estimates are that the dispute has cost each party hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And this kind of has a twofold effect. For us as a consumer, the price of the product goes up. But there is a benefit because it actually helps to promote innovation. When we have companies fighting each other for patents, it means that product design improves overall because you find that companies are having to innovate around existing patents. Now, for Apple, this is kind of a worthwhile dispute because Samsung has emerged as its one real legitimate competitor in the smartphone space. Remember, in the first quarter of this year, it actually stole the crown from Apple, became the biggest smartphone manufacturer, and shipped more handsets. It's all about trying to crush the competition. That's why Apple is using legal recourse to undermine Samsung's sales. Patents are becoming technology's hottest property at the moment. And just this week, in fact, Google finally closed its deal to buy Motorola Mobility. 17,000 patents there in its portfolio. So we're seeing companies needing to invest basically in their future. It's a kind of insurance to make sure that other firms aren't innovating in exactly the same space.
So interestingly, all of this is playing into, or not, one of the most hotly anticipated smartphones of the year, and that's the Samsung Galaxy S3.
That's right. It comes out in Europe this week, and some people have said, well, it looks a little bit like Samsung has had to tweak the product design in order to avoid trampling on Apple. So, kind of as a direct effect of this patent war. But customers don't really care about that. They've actually pre-ordered. This has been the fastest selling, in terms of pre-orders, a handset ever to be released, and is expected to become the fastest selling gadget ever released. So it's a huge deal, and it's a beautiful phone, 4.8 inch screen, and it has some very cool technology that we haven't seen before. For instance, the lock screen, which you might know from your iPhone, it actually doesn't lock when the phone detects that there are a pair of eyes watching it. I've never seen that technology before. I've absolutely no idea.
It's very Big Brother, that, isn't it?
It is very Big Brother, but at the same
phone.
time, it's very practical for us.
Just talking applications and so on, Becky, Facebook has come out with a new camera application. The question is, do we really need another one now? I don't want to sound like a fuddy-duddy. I know I sound a bit like Stuart Norval here, getting lost in applications and technology.
He's not here to defend
But there
himself.
are so many of them out there on the market right now. And Facebook just bought Instagram. So what's the point in buying a camera application and then making your own?
Well, quite, because this application was obviously in the pipeline when Apple bought Instagram just 6 weeks ago. It's been in development for months, maybe even years. People have been asking, is this Mark Zuckerberg's $1 billion blip? Why did he do it? Was it because Instagram was worth $1 billion to Facebook? Or was it, to go back to this theme, to crush the competition? And it looks, with the release of this app, like the latter. So Facebook was pretty scared, it seems, of going head-to-head with Instagram. And when you look at this application, you know why? Because it just isn't up to scratch. So there are a couple of things that Facebook have done wrong here, in my humble opinion. One, we now have 3 Facebook apps running concurrently on our phones. We have Facebook Messenger, we have the pure Facebook app, and now we have this third one. What are you going to do with them? Well, probably you're going to consolidate them all into one folder, which means you've got an extra layer of navigation before you actually use any of the Facebook apps. So it's more complicated. The other thing is that Facebook's technology just isn't as good as Instagram's. It tries to do the same thing. They have, obviously, a social network.
Rebecca, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but we're running out of time. Thank you so much,
Basically,
though,
I'm saying
for
don't
coming
bother
in.
to get it.
Don't run out to get it. All right, thank you very much, Rebecca. Thanks again, Owen. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned to France 24. So